Hey guys, it's time to jam with Jam Time 2000. This video is not going to be very long. Basically, this video is going to be showing off the rail yard I've been working on in Minecraft. So let's get rid of my hand so I can show you where it starts. So, in order to understand what looks like chaos, it's still a work in progress. So let's go to the start of the rail yard. As you can see, it's absolutely massive. Like, my render distance is on 32 chunks, and even that's not enough to... I don't want to... Oh, I want it more than 10 chunks. Get back up to 32. There we go. Yeah, so even 32 chunks of render distance isn't quite enough to hold, to show this whole thing. Oh, and I did install not enough items, and yes, it has been a bit, difficult getting used to going into here and clicking instead of writing /toggle down full or /time set day. Let's let this area load in a bit. Yeah, my game, the game, although it may look laggy, once it's all loaded in, it runs really nicely. So here's a freight train with containers being brought in. You can see a couple of the flatbeds are empty, and this track will probably eventually go off to a shipping port, but because it's difficult to do curved tracks, well, do is I only have it going to a 22.5 angle, which is the angle of that track there, to have some curves. So when I do a metro system, I'll have like the central station and then tracks branching out. But anyway, so this is what the level crossing looks like. You can see you've got the gates here. I reckon the gates worked out pretty well. And I had an upside down stair, sort of like as a pivot thing. And these gates turned out pretty well, and at first I had to bow a boom gate on here that went down, but that was a bit unrealistic, and there was that. Plus, if there's an emergency and an ambulance or fire truck needs to get through, then they can drive through here. Of course, imagine the train's not there, but then the emergency service vehicle can drive through here and then weave through the crossing that way. So, and you can see the containers are nothing special. I just picked random colours that went well together, and this is what the wheels of the flatbed look like. So let's show I'll show the locomotive, and the locomotive's not something I built. I followed a tutorial. But this is the locomotive, and yes, I am using a special texture pack, because this would not look good in the default texture pack. And these doors don't actually mean anything, they're just cosmetic. Same with the controls, you can't actually get inside at all, but you can see the locomotive looks nice and powerful, which is the sort of thing you'd want. So let's... Oh, and there's there's a signal back here. So, right here. So what would happen is, if the train's not quite ready to go through yet, then what would happen is the train would stop at this signal and the tracks would get switched, and then the train would go. But of course, the person in charge of switching all the tracks to make them ready for the train would ideally want to have the tracks switched ahead of time, so that the train can just go straight through. Because imagine that if the train to stop here, then it would take forever to get through the gates, and you'd have a lot of angry car drivers. So let's focus on the actual rail yard now. So then you've got a track that splits off to here, and then this track goes this way with multiple tracks branching off of it. So there's a set of two here, set of 2 here, and then the last set of 2 back here. And you can see, and you can see where the reason why these tracks are in groups of 2 is one track goes one way and one track goes the other way. So this locomotive facing this way would be ready to depart, and when it's ready to depart and that signal goes green, it's currently red, but when that goes green, then the train would move forwards and then go onto here and then onto this track, and with this track that goes off at an angle, only one train would be allowed on there at a time. So like a reason for that signal to be red there or there is if the train is coming this way, and the trains on this side going this way can also use these tracks at this track here, except they just go onto that line going that way, because this rail yard is really the center of the because basically the way this railway depot or yard would work is that the lines going off that way would be going towards the other places within the city. I got damn notification. Oh wait. There. Yeah, so basically, those tracks would be going off to places within facilities within the city. So these 2 tracks would go off to places within facilities within the city that require a train, that need a train. And there's a signal here as well. Probably. Although now that I think of it, it's not really necessary to have it here. This one's not really needed because it would make sense if there was a track switch just ahead, but there isn't. But oh well. So anyway, so it's becoming night. Yeah, this is much faster than typing /time set day. So and no, this is not the edge of the rail yard, because you can see there's this bit that splits off into a siding. So like, and the purpose of this siding is like so this train that's pulling the containers would go into that siding, and if it had to wait for another, or if it's not going for a siding, it has to wait for another train to come out that siding, then it would stop at the signal, but the signal's green to signify that the train can go ahead and go in. And this siding pretty much runs the entire length of the rail yard, and the main purpose of this siding is basically the train. Basically, imagine. So we'll pretend that this train has just come from a port and has picked up containers from a ship. That would be weird, because trains can't even pull a container ship, unless it's those locomotives on the Panama Canal that pull the ship through. But anyway, so then these trains pulling the containers would go onto this siding, and this would be a facility where the containers would be unloaded and then sorted out. So like those container carrier handler things so basically, so the train would drive to the middle, or probably as far forward as it can go, and then it would stop, and then the train would stop, and then a bunch of handler things will pick up the containers from the trains, and then the driver can drive out with the empty flatbeds and put them into, and they can either be taken back to the port or put somewhere in the shunting yard. So let's look at some of the trains I've got here. So these are coal cars which take the coal to the power station, which is once again another facility that requires the train, so that needs a train. So well, it would go down, so the train would full coal cars would go down that track, deliver the coal, and once the coal's delivered, then the train would bring, then the driver would bring the empties back. So these are the empties here, and I'll show you that there is a locomotive at the front end of this train of empties here. And you can see the car design is nothing special, just 2 sets of wheels at each end, and then the thing on top to hold the coal, and this locomotive here. And I reckon I did the coal cars pretty well, because I have seen ones that are like this, sort of like the reversing of those grain trains, and then here's one that's filled with coal. Although in this texture pack you can see that this looks a lot like I wasn't sure. This looks kind of like coal, but now that I think of it, it kind of looks like bitumen as well. But but it wouldn't exactly suit my roads, so I'll just say that. So I'll just use obsidian as coal, because I've already got black wool for bitumen. And then here is or asphalt, and then here is the train. Oops, and it's missing the carpets. Here. Wait, are all the locomotives I've pasted in missing the carpets above? Really? Damn it. Okay, so I'll continue this tour, but as we go I'll fix up all the locomotives. So this is the coal car that's filled up with coal. Let's see if this locomotive down here needs carpets added in. Well, at least there's not many locomotives. It would be different if it was like a set of flatbed. That would be very tedious. Right. So there's this here, and these are and here's a bunch of empty flatbeds where the driver with the locomotive has already taken these from the port, where these have already been taken from the port and then taken to that facility where they get unloaded from the train and put onto trucks and then pretty much after they've been unloaded, then the drivers would have gotten back into the locomotive, and then these empty flatbeds would have been shunted. It would have been shunted to here. So these will probably be seen next when containers get picked up from the port, because their locomotive can just back through here, can just back up, couple on, and then take these straight to the port to be filled up with containers, and then there'll be ones like, for example, this another option. This one could be that it gets unloaded, and then containers that need to be delivered to the port to be put on ships get put onto that flatbed, and then the locomotive would drive off and find a turntable or get turned around, or that locomotive would go off to do another job, and one that's already facing this way would couple on, and then the cars can be taken to the port, or they could be taken out to another town, but not very likely, because that would be most likely done by truck. And then over here we've got a train filled with tankers. So these would be like oil or fuel tanks, probably, I'd imagine probably oil being taken to a refinery or something, or something, or probably fuel or probably, I don't really know, but there's some tankers here. And once again, the bottom of the car and the bottom of each of these cars is pretty much identical, except for flatbed where I added this little thing right here. And also, if I switch this to a different texture pack, then this whole thing will be wrong. So I will show it in a different texture pack. And then over here we've got the grain train, and yes, these cars are based off of the ones I've seen in Southern when the train been on an Adelaide Metro train and going through Dry Creek, or even when I've seen them go through Gladstone. But you see, I've got the blue that thing here, which gives them more detail, and you can see I did a pretty good job with this grain train. And then up here is a locomotive which probably needs fixing. Yep. So let's get back with our carpet and just put this on here. And just because, and this is only about half of the shunting yard, so a whole bunch more trains could be put in this other part. So like for example, and then over here we've got a bunch of track switches, and this train would be, and this train when this train departs, it would probably either go straight to where the track narrows down, or it would go over this track switch to get past another train, because that's what these track switches are good for. If the train needs to get past another train, or if a locomotive needs to back onto another train or something. But a locomotive that needs to get onto another train would probably go all the way to the start of the rail yard and then back up that way. And you can see this also works the other way with trains going this way. And I don't really see any need to have any sort of track switches going this way, because the main flow of train traffic is this way, and if the train really needs to get to the main flow of traffic is this way. And if a train really needs to get to that side so badly, then it can go backwards to where the rail yard starts. And as far as these two tracks here go, they're not part of the shunting yard. Although I've noticed a small mistake here. But yeah, this track switch is not meant to extend any further than here, so it's a pretty simple fix. I just take these off and then put these here, so like this goes here, and this bit isn't needed either. Whoops. Don't you hate that? Don't you hate that when you're playing Minecraft? Don't you hate that when you're playing Minecraft and you're trying and then you're trying to destroy, and then you end up destroying every blocker. That one thing that's annoying is like when I'm playing Minecraft and then I need to break a block and then I end up breaking every block other than the one I want to break. So anyway, this is now normal, so this just goes like this, and these two tracks will remain clear at all. Will be meant to remain clear at all times, because these two tracks will lead to will be different because these two tracks are the main passageway through the shunting yard. So like if a locomotive needs to get from one end of the shunting yard to the other, it would use these tracks, and I'll also have some tracks branch off here at some point. Where I'll be because the city is New Time City, so and I'll have some tracks which will branch off here to create the New Time Diesel Works where the locomotives can go for maintenance or just to be stored, but it would mainly be for maintenance because locomotives would be stored in the shunting yard. And actually I should also build, now that I think that, and I should build a special thing with sidings where locomotives can park when they're not being used, just to get them out the way, because the last thing you want is to have a whole bunch of locomotives in your in a shunting yard and then having to move them to get to where you need to go. But the shunting yard will not extend any further that way, but it will be extending, going a little bit wider here. So, like I promised, I'll show what the shunting yard looks like in the default texture pack. This may take a while. This is definitely going to take a while. And if some of the controls are, and if I look like some of the controls are a bit awkward for me, that's because I can't have Minecraft in full screen, because then the screen cap software doesn't record it properly. So let's wait for the train to load it. So let's go back to the start and just do a brief, just do a fly through of what this train looks like in regular mode in the default texture pack. Let's turn off rain. Alright. Yeah, and this also gives you a chance to see what the materials were originally made of, or Earthling was originally made of. This road looks about the same, but as you can see, the gates here are ruined. Like, look at that. And you can't even see the light properly. I can't even see the light, the glass pane, properly. And oh my god, look at that. This level crossing's ruined. And so these flatbeds there, and these flatbeds are also ruined. And these tracks don't look like they'll be able to hold up the weight of the train. They look like something that would crumble underneath the weight of the train. How are the signals looking? You can't even tell that that's a green signal. And like all the poles I've made out of mossy cobblestone, and look at the locomotive, and I think the locomotive, and it looks like the locomotive seems to have been hit hardest, and the locomotives have been hit hard because the coal ore is meant to represent like ventilation. The locomotives just look terrible. And then there's these coal cars where I use lapis, lazuli, they're ruined. The tracks are ruined, and this doesn't look like coal anymore. These flatbeds are ruined. Pretty much every single flatbed car in this rail yard is ruined because they're all been used, included never bricks at some stage. So let's unruin these trains. As if unruined is unruined even a word? Probably not. Yeah, changing from the default texture pack to a different texture pack always takes time. That's better. Yeah, the trains before, the trains were ruined. Yeah, everything in this route. Yeah, the old text. Yeah, the default text. So I definitely don't want to update my Minecraft unless there's a. Yeah, I definitely won't be updating my Minecraft unless there's an update unless it's compatible with this texture pack. Unless it's compatible with this texture pack, because well, this is ruined. Everything here is just ruined. You know what, let's make this signal red, and then this one can be and then this coal train can be green because this coal train needs to get to a power station, otherwise the coal will run out. So the way it would work is the train would take full coal cars that are full to the power station to get the and drop off the coal cars I'm not sure how it would work, but the coal cars would probably get dropped off or something, or the driver would have to drive. I think they'd just get dropped off, and then the empty ones would get picked, and then the empty ones would be collected, and then the driver would collect all the empty ones and take them back to so then the empty coal cars would then be picked up and taken to the shunting yard, where arrangements would be made for them to be taken back to the coal mine. And I was also thinking of including some sort of piston line for Amtrak, which, if you don't know, it's an American rail company. Sort of like how in Australia you've got the GAN and Indian Pacific. Well, in the US you've got Amtrak. And Amtrak is not the best in the world, but it's not. And Amtrak will never replace the ICE from Germany, not the ICE. So yeah, it will never replace the ICE from Germany, or the Japanese and French bullet trains. But the cities are not meant to be based on really big on trains anyway. With public transport, it's more just as long as they get the job done. Well, the metro trains will be nice, and the metro tracks will probably have and the tracks or the metro lines will probably have port sleepers and a separate rail car depot. And the metro line would probably be a bit further that way, probably with some sort of station that stops here. And looking at the video, it's getting long, so I should probably end it. So I'd like to say thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!